All right, I got an 05 Dodge Dakota 545 RFE with code P0717. All right, and I'm watching trying to focus this thing. I don't have much time to film here. Okay, and if you could see the input speed sensor, see how it's jumping around from 600 to 291, 240, 107. Okay, that's the turbine input speed sensor. And I'm getting code 717, like there's an issue with the ground. Now, the input and the output speed sensor on this share the same ground, so if there actually was an issue with the ground, we would more than likely have a reading on the output speed sensor even when the car is not moving. You see, that's very, very erratic. It should be mimicking the engine RPM, maybe lag a little bit behind. Okay, so I got this. Now what I have is a graphing meter that is probed up in the front, and we're going to take a look at that signal. You see, this is still jumping around. Okay, so you should have in park, which I'm in right now, you should have turbine speed sensor signal and no output speed, and when you put the car in drive, you're not going to have any turbine speed or output speed until the car starts moving. Okay, so I'm just going to pause it, and we're going to go to the graphing meter and take a look at that. Now, if you see this is erratic, my graphing meter as well should be erratic. So let's take a look at that. All right, so I'm hoping you guys can see that. It's coming in clear. It's a nice sine wave, and that's coming right off the sensor. I got the computer, the old computer, back probed. Well, not back probed. I just got some alligator clips on it, because I got to get this thing done in a hurry. But that is the nice sine wave coming right out of the sensor. So tell me the sensor is okay and the wiring is okay. All right, here's the computer. It's where it lives right there. So now what I'm going to do is swap the computer out. I'm going to swap it out, and we're going to take the reading again. So everything so far is pointing to the computer. All right, so let me do that, and I will be right back. All right, here is the rebuild computer that we just got in. All right, and as you can see, there's color codes here: black, orange, white, and green. The green is for the transmission. That usually is the C4 connector, but this way you can't mistakenly plug anything in wrong, because everything is all color coded here. So I'm going to be putting this computer in now. There is an extra ground added, and I do have the battery disconnected. Anytime I'm playing with anything with electronics, I like to disconnect the battery just to make sure everything is good. All right, so the next shot we're going to get is at a scan tool when this computer is in and the car is running, and we'll check the RPMs at that point. So I will return. All right, quick shot of the computer installed. I still got to wrap up the wires for the C4 connector, as you can see. Got an extra ground strap right here I put on, and we're going to crank this thing up. We're going to connect the battery, going to crank it up and see what we got. All right, so next shot is going to be the scan tool. Okay, I'm kind of trying not to get a reflection here so you guys can see. All right, so now we're going to slide it over, and now you see that the engine RPM and the input RPM is pretty steady. The input RPM may lag a little bit behind, but it's certainly not as it was. All right, so we definitely had an issue with the circuit in the computer. Maybe the driver, I'm not 100% sure, but we had the graphing meter hooked up right up to the computer, and as the scan tool was faulty, the signal coming out of the transmission through the input speed sensor was okay. All right, that's AC voltage. It generates the signal. All right, so that looks pretty good here. So I'm going to put everything back together. Again, what the problem was I had a P0717, and they were talking about the ground circuit, but the ground circuit seemed okay. Like I said, the input and output share the same ground circuit, and sometimes when it is compromised, you actually may get an output speed sensor reading in park, when you should only get that moving. So that's what made me possibly go to the computer. Of course, I did try a sensor first, and that didn't work because these do have a high failure rate. But it looks like everything is good here, and the rebuilt computer fixed the problem. All right, so I thank you guys for watching. This was a quick video. I apologize, but a guy actually is waiting, and I did want to film it, so I told him to give me a little more time, and he's up there waiting. So, all right, I'm going to take this on a road test. All looks good. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next one.